So welcome everyone. I'd like to thanks for my friend for hosting me. It's been a while for public speaking, so thanks for giving me a chance to talk about my journey for offensive security. So uh, in this talk, what to expect and what not to expect, I would like to say it expectations. Firstly, we are going to talk about the multiple paths to become an offensive security expert. So it's not about like, okay, I'm talking about this CV and how you earn it and how to hack this and how can you earn the CV in future and how can you uh, gain credits in cybersecurity world, right? So this is not a very specific talk about any specific vulnerability or any exploitation path. We are going to talk about the overall path in cybersecurity world if you want to be an cybersecurity expert. Okay, so let's get started. Who was the curiosity is always there in me to understand like who was the first hacker and how this cybersecurity thing started overall. Okay, so I don't know whether you guys is aware or not, but there is a nice movie called The Intimation Game. I mean, if nobody have watched it or those who watched, who knows, right? But if you haven't watched it, I suggest you should go and watch that movie to understand the beginning of hacking. Okay, so, based on my knowledge, again subjective, I think this guy, this decent looking guy, he's the first hacker in the world. And this was the first hacking machine was ever produced in the world. And at the left side, you can see some typewriter kind of thing. It is called the Enigma machine, which was used by the Germans in World War II. So this guy thought of breaking this machine. Like back in days when they have to convince like their next objective or next plan, like what's the next war move they want to do. So they were using ciphers. So they were not writing just plain letters. So to prevent the integrity, confidentiality of that message, there was no term called availability because that time it was just shoot at sight, right? So if your message is not available, your person is gone. So to maintain the confidentiality and integrity of the message, these guys, Germans, discovered some machine called Enigma machine. So Enigma machine was ciphering the text which the boss want to convey to the troops or to the military leaders back in days. So this intelligent guy called Dr. Alan Turing, he was working on this unrealistic project at that time to demystify the secrets of how the cipher text can be deciphered. Then he built his own computer because back in days there was no thing such as the computer. It was just like some very basic computers. So even 8086 was not that time. Even lot of computing was not at the peak. It was just the beginning. I think he took the Charles Babbage model to make this ALU machine to take multiple inputs and do multiple calculation. Okay, so this first hack was very interesting. It's again it was a partial brute force we can say, but it's not a full brute force because what they identified based on few letters and intelligence that they always ends a letter with Hell Hitler word. Okay, so this machine was doing, it was reading the document which they received, and then it tries to match the last six digit, uh, last not six, Hail Hitler, last two words with Hail Hitlers, and once it is matched, then they were able to identify the position or ciphering technique that they were using. So for me, he's a real inspiration for hacking, and for me, I think this was the beginning of hacking or code breaking. And surprisingly, I like reading about him. So surprisingly, this guy predicted about AI at the time of World War, which was which was really shocking to me. I was like, how can you think about AI in that time, like that era where the computer was not even mature, right? So I think this was the first hack, and this was the first ever hacking machine that this guy have defined, and he's the first hacker, I believe. Okay, so fast forward to today. In today's world, the hacking is renamed as a offensive security or like a cyber security. When we frame it as a cyber security, it becomes illegal, and when we frame it as a hacking, it becomes again criminal. So hacking is still criminal, But offensive security or cyber security, these are the terms which makes the hacking legal thingy. Okay. So in today's world, cybersecurity is a very vast domain. It includes governance, compliance, risk, and blah 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 blah. So we are just purely talking about offensive security today. Those who want to do career in the just offensive security side, like for me, I have this ambition of being a technical guy only forever in the cybersecurity domain. So I want to follow my passion till my retirement, hopefully. So that was my plan. So that's why I wanted to be on a top of cybersecurity and keep evolving every day with whatever the new attack threats or new attack surface or new attack strategies are coming to the market, right? So that's when I decided like I will stay technical forever and I want to do this only. And then I started exploring my forte using certifications to this path. Based on it, what I learned so far, hacking in today's world is very organized and it's in very, segregated and uh, isolated in, and it is classifying in multiple domain. To begin with, first and bottom layer, I think the infrastructure security is the main part where the all infrastructure and servers and domains, user, active directory, users, client, computers are lined. So we can call it as a office security. Let's assume a frictional company called KK.com. So KK.com is a company who is a, let's say a big company is dealing with the mobile, so is manufacturing its own phone and selling it to the market just for uh, this session. Okay. So KK.com have office somewhere in Lucknow, okay, where let's say 500 to 1,000 people are working there in office. They have multiple department like HR, finance, R&D department, and sales, and blah 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 blah. So all these people will sit and fall under the infrastructure security because this is called the backend guys, okay, who is working really. Then the second domain I feel is like a web API and mobile security. So web application security, API security, and the mobile app security is the second tier in a hacking. So in our context, the KK.com's company is selling their product on their mobile app on the website called KK.com and the API they are consuming in backend. Okay, and the next tier in the offensive security is, I believe, it's a embedded or product security. So let's say the same mobile which KK.com is selling, that product is called an embedded device, or you can call it as a overall product device. Let's say it is selling a mobile or it is selling a iWatch. Okay, so that's the layer three in the offensive security, and the last layer, which is I'm still struggling after 14 years of experience. It's called vulnerability research, reverse engineering, and exploit development. So this tier is where the KK.com's product is getting assessed against the real or zero day or very critical flaws which no one can get easily access to. Right? Because if the KK.com is selling mobiles to the users, the user security responsibility is directly belongs to the KK.com's owner. Right? So for the context, we have a company called KK.com and we are trying to align our security objective or offensive security path with the KK.com and its product. Okay. So let's talk about infrastructure security. So what is the infrastructure security? When we talk, like, there are people who dedicated their life of 20 or 25 years, they are still doing the infrastructure security only, right? Because infrastructure security is a never ending domain. What includes in infrastructure is like servers, client, end users, then there are switches, network, routing. So the whole infrastructure which is built up of on which everything is running, it's called the infrastructure. Also, in nowadays, the term is called the network security. I mean, many guys says a network security, but I would like to call it as an infrastructure because network is just one element in it. So, for example, if you see the certifications like OSCP, it's purely based on the infrastructure security certification. Okay, so what we have to understand as a beginner, as a fundamental of network security is, let's say the KK.com's office is in London. Okay, so it must have the Wi-Fi, it must have the switches, it must have the routers, it must have the connecting, it must have the canteen or something. So when the attacker physically, let's say a hacker or the researcher, or let's say hacker for this term, okay, when hacker enter into physical boundary of kk.com, okay, not probably it's a Wi-Fi is bit strong and it is giving signal to outside of its compound also, then when the hacker is in the premises of kk.com and when he try to latch on the network, and from there when he try to enter into the kk.com's network and try to hack the users there, we can call it as a infrastructure security. Okay, I'm not being like a point to point correct on this, like okay, someone will say, oh, the cloud of kk.com will be also in the scope, right? So we are just building our pathway to offensive security. So how can we how to start with infrastructure security? Okay, so let's say in the infrastructure security, we will be preliminary looking for the threats that can come from the attacker's physical appearance. Maybe it's legal, illegal, or contractual. So that kind of security we are looking as a infrastructure security. So this is the fundamentals. So how you can identify, like, okay, if I go here, if I go to the canteen, there is a LAN port. I can sit there. I connect my LAN net. I can connect my laptop to there, and from there I will get access to the network of kk.com. And then you move laterally or horizontally, or you find some web servers and try to exploit the web server and getting reverse shell from it, and then you try to deface their website or try to steal some secrets or source code. So this is a in general path for when it comes to the infrastructure security. Okay, LAN, WAN, or let's say the network. Like in some cases, I would like to not name it, but in some cases, the service provider's network may come to your home, and from there also you can find out a way to enter into the service provider's network, right? So there are a lot of things when it comes to the network security, but principally when you try to access into someone's network, we can call it as a network infrastructure security. Okay, so what are the pathways in this, right? Because infrastructure security, as you see, it's a never-ending topic. It's never-ending discussion. It doesn't matter down the line 20 years, it will be still there, right? Because the infrastructure needs to be there to run the AI, for example. I mean, to run anything, you need to have a solid infrastructure in backend, right? So infrastructure will be always there, and the infrastructure security will be always there. So what kind of security paths we can see in the network infrastructure security, right? So there is something called like a beginner level. I will say there is a vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Okay, so why I call it a structured VAPT? It's because VAPT is always structured in such a way that you are not allowed to damage organization. You are not allowed to break anything. You are not allowed to sometimes even test in a production, because let's say kk.com is announcing a sale at let's say tomorrow, and some VAPT guys are messing up and my server is not responding, right? So that's a huge loss for company. So that's why I call it a VAPT is a always in a structured way. So we in VAPT we decide mutually agrees with some vendors or third party provider, or sometimes I do have we do have our own security team only who is doing the internal VAPT. Okay, so this internal versus external is different than what I'm saying the internal team. So what I'm talking now is about the internal security team performing the vulnerability assessment and penetration test against the infrastructure where they are working, right? Or if the company is small, they may outsource it to some consulting firms, right? There are a lot of consulting firm who offers the VAPT in today's world, right? So VAPT is a test where user perform the 5 essential steps. First is recon. He tries to identify what are the scope, what is the IP address, what are the uh, I mean, as much as information you want to gather. So that's a recon. Then structuring the VAPT, like okay, how should I do? From where should I go? And then performing VA, like based on the gathered information, we will perform the vulnerability assessment against the IP address or network or switches or web server or whatever asset we have in a list. and then finally performing penetration test. So let's say if you find some vulnerable, like let's say Apache version 2.1.4 is vulnerable for code execution by doing integer overflow something, then you perform with a legal approval, you perform the penetration test and get access to the infrastructure. Okay. So in VAPT, I think the most important topic apart from skill is the scope. You should really know what your scope is. You should really know what you are going to do, and you should really ensure that things are not going to break after you perform a VAPT, right? So in VAPT also there are like the third topic we are here. In VAPT also there is one crucial thing is called internal VAPT versus external VAPT. So what is internal VAPT is by using this path, if you are inside the kk.com's infrastructure, and from there if you are performing VAPT, we call it an internal VAPT. And why we call it internal VAPT? Because you are already inside the network, right? So this is considered as like the external prevention mechanism such as firewall, IPS, IDS, or F5 or whatever these technologies we have for preventing the external attack. Those has been compromised now because you are already inside the network. And then the next come is the external VAPT. So in external VAPT, the people usually just give like, okay, these are my public IP address where we are exposing our infrastructure, sometimes as a web, sometimes as a service, or sometimes for XYZ reason. And you give us assurance that any hacker in the world is not able to access our internal network or our public facing network by obtaining the IP address. Okay. So like let's say some guy knows the IP address of kk.com, which is already known to everyone because it's a public record, DNS. So they will know. So preventing the path from external world to our internal network where our sensitive data are there and sensitive things are there. It's called the external VAPT. Okay. So these two are pretty much interlinked, and you can correlate these things once you understand this. Okay, so this is still legal, and we can say it's very much process oriented, and it's very much in a controlled environment where a lot of people will not harm your infrastructure. Now, what this structured VAPT is again can be covered in OSCP. OSCP is pretty wide, and some EJPT also where you get these things. Okay. Now, next is like the red teaming. So, red teaming is very crucial. We first need to understand what is red teaming and what is the difference between VAPT and red teaming. In a VAPT, we clearly defines the boundaries. So what are our boundaries, where you should stop, and what are the ways that you can get access to the network or access to the sensitive information. So this is pure scoped and proper. While on the other hand, red teaming is next level of VAPT, where attacker has been, not attacker, or like the cyber security guys has been assigned a target. Okay, let's say kk.com, we have target today and we need to compromise it at all. So that approach includes pure black box. So for the red teaming cases, in most of the cases, like there are some internal red teamings also performed, like large organization perform their internal red teaming also to identify the vulnerable users or who can get tricked easily. But overall, this thing not everyone is doing it in internally. But overall, the red teaming stands for like and target where you have the zero information or limited or publicly available information with you only. Probably sometimes CISO or CFO will be aware of that company that there will be an simulated attack to identify the real threats to the company. So in red teaming, what people does usually, it's like first they identify your infrastructure, like what servers they use, what technologies you are using. So if against that technology, what are the vulnerabilities are published in the market. So they try to hack you directly from every possible way. Probably they will drop some USBs in your office area, assuming that one of the guy will pick up the USB and plug it into is to network, and then we will get access to his machine remotely. or they can use C2 and advanced framework to craft a malicious USB and drop it there. Also, they will not stop there. They will literally look for the company's information on LinkedIn, find out the employees who are working with that kk.com. Yes, you have doubt?
No, it's fine. I will read the question for you. पर हम लोग सही जा रहे हैं. Maybe थोड़ा सा tools के बारे में भी अगर हम बता सकें.
Sure. So we are talking about Cobalt now. One sec. I'll put the teams here. Okay, so let's continue with the flow. Okay. So in red teaming, they will gather the information that needs to be like how many employees are there, what employees are belong to which department. So usually, like you will prefer to have a soft target like finance department or sales people giving like, oh, this is a lead document. You will get a lot of business from this. So this kind of tricks, then you craft a malicious document like the Word document or Excel document, which allows you to execute macro in a backend, right? So this harmful, this plain, simple looking Word document can cause a chaos because the macros nowadays are so powerful to defeat the existing tools such as Defender, or you have the antivirus or anti-malware or malware bytes, and also the built-in protection in Windows such as the AMC. So this all protection you can break by writing a precise macro. And also some macros can be so nice, like it will automatically identify what structure you have, like which OS you are running. Because if you are crafting a payload, the payload should be either 32-bit or 64-bit. The one payload cannot work with the both architecture of Windows. But nowadays, in advanced red teaming, advanced evasion technique, what we do is like we make sure that our document or Word document or Excel document is so damn good that it will not get detected by any antivirus, because you can verify it online. Okay, not with Virus Total, because Virus Total leaks the signature. There are some other tools which where you can scan your document and which will not publish the tool, or you can build your local detection system to test that document power. So that document will have a macro. That macro will detect underlying operating system, whether it's a 32-bit or 64-bit. And then also it was able to detect the advanced prevention mechanism, such as MC from Microsoft, which allows you to, which prevents the code execution when it comes from the unauthorized or illegal source. So this macro is able to bypass the AMC protection. This macro is able to understand whether the OS is running with 32-bit or 64-bit, and then it will spawn a reverse shell and give the connection to attacker. Okay. So this kind of attacks are purely red team attack, where you are targeted to pawn this organization by hook or by crook. Okay. So this kind of things you can learn, like at least I learned from the OSEP. Also, it's called the Pen 300 course after the OSCP, where you get to learn all these things. Okay. And also another crucial part which I would like to highlight from when it comes to the red team is like you need to do the tunneling also. So let's say you manage to latch one network using the any red teaming technique, or any technique that where you are putting the pen drives, or you are sending the document, or you are phishing the user, or you are making user trick to visit your fishy website. From there you are delivering your payload and getting reverse shell. Okay, once you entered into the network, it's not necessarily that all network have the accessibility to the management network of infrastructure, which means you might not be able to hack the server of kk.com where the database or web application is lying, from the user network or from the guest network. So tunneling is a very crucial part also in the red teaming. where you need to build where you get initial access to one network, and from there you jump to the another network, and this is how you keep jumping inside the whole network, and you manage to hack the web server or whatever. Okay. So I believe this is all about the infrastructure security from my point of view. Once you become expert in this, there is still one more thing. It's called black box. Okay, so these all are legal things where you perform your, like, you learn here, then you perform VAPTs, then you do red teaming, then you use advanced evasion to get into the network. Okay, but what about the black box? There are still people who is extorting money from the organization by using their niche and advanced hacking skill. Like I can say, like a pro red teamer guys who know how to get access to where they can easily get into someone's network, not easily as in easily, but definitely, and then extract the source code or extract the key information, or if nothing is there, then just do the encrypt their all system, they encrypt their all application server, production server, database server, even the backups, to extort the money, and it's called the ransomware attack. So you can still, with the red teaming, you can still do the ransomware thingy, and you can, I mean, these guys are like a real hackers, earns in billions, extort a lot of money from organization, and also they threaten you, if you don't pay us, then they will leak the data, leak the organization's data. That is again a very big thing in when it comes to the GDPR and policy violations. For example, recently, like a few days back, like 2, 3 days back, there is a company called Audio, which is a telecom provider in Netherlands. So their data got hacked, and hackers decided, hackers asked for the money, and this company is like, no, 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 we are Dutch people, will not give money. And then I mean, we don't want to give you money. You do whatever you want. And then the that hacking that APT group started leaking the data online on the dark web, and they are leaking the data in installment. Like, okay, are you giving us money? No. Okay, again, take your 50,000 users data back. Now this company will be in big trouble because the it's a clear confirmation that the data got leaked from them, so they are eligible to comply the data privacy law in Europe, right? So this is how the infrastructure security works. Now, let's come back to our kk.com. Now, kk.com is selling their mobiles also online, right? So we have our website called kk.com where we manufacture our own phone and we sell it to the market. And also, we have our own app like Discount Plus Plus. From that Discount Plus Plus app, you can do like you will get discount if you buy our phones from that website. So this all is a very big topics like web application security, API security, and mobile security. We'll go one by one. So when we talk about the web application security, okay, my first breakthrough to the hacking was like hacking the website when by passing the SQL query like one equal to one and quote or quote one equal to one, which is saying username is admin and password is true. So basically one is equal to one is true. So database think, okay, password is true, then it will give you access to the website. So it was back then in 2004-5. Nowadays it's pretty complex and pretty um, difficult in web application to get hacked. Okay, so web application security is a crucial part because it's a front end for the attackers. So as the manufacturing company thinks that our representation online is based on our website or whatever the digital presence we have in the market, right? Like we are like if you want to know which Nike shoe is out in the market, you'll definitely prefer to visit their website and see which shoe is out rather going to their store and seeing which shoe is out, right? So web application becomes a very frontier for any organization to display their products or display their whatever they are selling, right? Basically, all organizations are here to make money. So their money making platform is the web application. So in web application, there are a lot of techniques like the web. You can read more about here in OWASP top 10. It's a typo there. Okay. So OWASP top 10 will guide you about what are the top vulnerabilities are there. But I would like to talk about few, like for example, injection. So when I was doing like this web OSWE, OffSec Web Expert, it literally blows my mind. Like how can the web attack can be so sophisticated? Because our target was like they just gave us a website URL where I need to write a exploit. That exploit will automatically uh, uh, gain the root shell over that whole organization without even doing any single click or like a zero interaction. So basically, we need to develop a full-fledged working exploit, exploit that you run against the target and you will get a reverse shell from that web server. So it also includes the web application security bypass because that was a core part, and then compromising the web server by exploiting the vulnerabilities in the web application itself. Okay, so I'm not allowed to talk a lot about the OffSec stuff because they are very strict on their principle and you can't discuss anything about exams or their course material outside allowed. I mean outside anywhere. So still we'll talk about the web application on a bit more detailed level. In the web application security, apart from no, not apart from. In the OWASP top 10, you will see the major attacks such as like the SQL injection. So what you can do with a SQL injection? People think that, oh, we got an error. Oh, that's done. That's a SQL injection. No, that's the entry for the SQL injection. When you see the error, okay, this SQL error or this MySQL error or MS SQL error, what people will do is just like, okay, let me fire my SQL map and okay, SQL map hyphen u and then I will give this URL and the parameter and done. So in this case, you are not learning anything about how you are exploiting the SQL injection, right? Because everything was done by the SQL map. So to learn more about SQL injection, what the approach I took is like to learn every query, like why this is happening, why. I mean, you just keep questioning yourself, like when you are exploiting the vulnerabilities, like SQL injection, like okay, why this payload work and why this payload not work. By this way, you will understand the backend of the SQL structure, like not just SQL language, I mean backend provider of SQL structures such as the MS SQL or MySQL or the Oracle or the Postgres, how those database react with you when you are talking in their language with them, right? So probably like I remember when I was doing the bug bounty very actively with Synac, there was a one target. I mean, that target, I found the SQL vulnerability, SQL injection vulnerability. And you'll not believe first where I found it because my elite friends have already tested this and they say like, oh, this time the target is not that good and we are not able to hack anything. I was like, okay, what I have to do? I mean, I'll still try, still give my try. I tried with every parameter of that application. None of them was vulnerable. I tried with the headers, and you'll not believe I found a user agent header in that application vulnerable for SQL injection. And that was a big win. That gave me around $10,000, probably the highest one-time bounty I earned from that vulnerability because they added a bonus of like $2,000 extra for trying something which is not usual. Like not everyone tries putting the SQL payload in the headers. I was just bored and I couldn't find anything, so I was like, okay, why not header? Let's first the header. And one header, literally, I put the payload where if the system time is current time, then sleep for 3 seconds, and it literally sleep for a 3 second. I was like, no, probably I was fuzzing a lot, so it could be the error. Then again, I changed the parameter and I did like, okay, if system time is this, then wait for 10 millisecond, and it again wait for 10 milliseconds. So this was like the craziest SQL injection I ever found in my life. So and what it can give you, right? I literally placed an order of product using SQL injection where you will see the entry username, I mean the user order details and the delivery address, and we received pizza from one of the known company in India. Okay, so SQL injection can give you the full access to their what it calls the products and something. For example, in our kk.com, if you find the SQL injection where you can add, like the user Kaustubh have already placed an order for KK model 1 phone and it needs to be delivered at, let's say, my Mumbai's house, right? And this guys who is processing the orders, they will see, oh yeah, I received the order, so I need to process it, right? But there was no payment made, there was no purchase made. It was just, you will see the entry in database which you rely on. Same happens when you go to the McDonald's. You place an order, there is an order ID is generated, and you see the order ID. Based on it, you will get a food there. So imagine if you are able to hack the McDonald's database and you manage to put your own order ID with your own your food stuff and own your delivery address, they will deliver you. They will not trace back at that moment whether this order is genuine or not, right? So that can so web application security can give you lot of things. And when it comes to the advanced web application security, what you can do from SQL injection, you can get a literally SQL database shell. Uh, and from SQL database shell, let's say if it's an MS SQL, you can literally use the methods such as the XPCMD shell to get access inside the infrastructure. And you know you the funniest part in this hack is like you literally don't need to go anywhere. You are already sitting at the cream database, right? You just dump the data, go home, or if you want, make a persistent session, drop a Cobalt C2 there, and the company will be always your slave, right? So this is the web application. So this is just a one vulnerability which I explain and how brutal it can be when it comes to the web application security. There are 9 more to make it top 10, right? So there is XSS. What you can do with XSS? People will just think like, oh, script alert one done. This is XSS. No, XSS is way beyond. XSS can allow you to execute commands, system commands on the user's browser context. So by that means, I don't know whether you heard of it or not. There is something called the Beef framework, which can literally allow you to execute a JavaScript, which will execute your system command on your system. So basically, if you make one website full-fledged with Beef, and then attacker just access that website, sorry, victim just access that website, and you will literally get his complete computer access by doing access. So there are 8 more vulnerabilities about this, but since we have the limited time and we can't be a hacker in 1 hour, right? We need to go step by step. It's a learning, and that's why I call it. It's a path. So you can choose the network security path, red teaming path. Then this is a web. Now let's talk about the API security. So once you understand the web security, and the good part for web security I would like to highlight is called bug bounties nowadays. If you go to nowadays, I mean it's been there for 10 years now. But if you go to hackerone.com or bugcrowd.com, you can literally register yourself and you can just literally take any website. They will give you a literal white access to do whatever you want. Right? You can test your web application security skills live using all you need is one browser and burp suite. That's it. Download the burp suite, which is also available in community edition. So you don't literally need to pay anything. Download the Mozilla Firefox or Brave or any other browser and just start testing your skills and read the OWASP top 10. So you will understand what are the vulnerabilities that you need to test against the application. Otherwise, someone might just keep DOSing the website. Though it's an valid attack, it impacts on the availability, but yeah, that's not a real web security, I will say. So when our front end website want to talk with our database, right? So database and website, I mean, back in old days, it used to be a same server where the database and web application is running on the same server where you are getting what it calls. I mean, they are hosted everything singly. Then, with a vast infrastructure and vast growth and vast reachability, and with the internet, they evolve. The application now evolves to the microservice, but still there is something called three-tier architecture where you have the web, then you have the middleware, and then you have the database server. So that's when the API security comes in a picture. So whatever website, let's say if you manage to get a hold of website, probably you will get their themes and everything, but you will not get anything if you hack the web server because it's just hosting an application. That application is communicating with a backend, right? Through some valid secret also. You can get a secret. So this API security is another part which talks the website will talk with the database using APIs, right? Or APIs can be exposed also directly. Let's say we have a B2B customer. Let's say KK.com have tie up with, let's say, SK.com, and SK.com also want to sell my phone at his Lucknow's another office or wherever. I can expose my APIs to SK.com, and SK.com can query my same database, and he can sell my same product. And whatever changes I'm doing here, he don't need to replicate at his local data center or his local website. It will be already fetched by the APIs. So APIs are very powerful nowadays, and API can, if you manage to uh, find the vulnerability such as insecure direct object reference in API, then probably you will be able to get a lot of things. So let's say the kk.com, when I'm logging there with my username Kaustubh and password Kaustubh, I logged in, and after logging in, I can see, okay, this is my details. This many mobiles I have ordered. This many watches I have brought from this website. Okay, so how the website is knowing that I'm the all this data? Because website is making a backend call to the backend database using APIs to identify, okay, who is this user, what he brought in past, what he is doing in past, so everything. Now imagine that
So,
yes.
Kaustubh, just a
Kaustubh,
request.
just a
You can go
request. You can
slightly
go
slow.
slightly slow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Voice
yeah.
was cracking.
Voice was cracking. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. So, to understand, to understand who is this user and what he had brought in the past, right? So, this website is kk.com is making requests to backend kk.com database. Okay, I got a user, so user slash name is equal to Kaustubh. Okay, then Kaustubh had brought this watches. Kaustubh have this much account credit in our kk.com's website. Okay, blah, 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 blah. This all data can be fetched via the APIs, which is making requests to the backend. Now, if I change my name from Kaustubh to, let's say, Somendra, okay. So in the API request, if I mean, it is not as easy as I'm telling you, right? It will be encoded values when it comes to real world, but just for understanding concept, I'm telling you. If I change the value in the API call from user Kaustubh to Somendra, I might be able to fetch what Somendra had bought from the kk.com in past, right? How much balance he have on the kk.com. So this API plays crucial role when it comes to the web application displaying some content. Okay, and this APIs are sits in between web application and mobile, because nowadays it's everything is app. Like literally, I don't really remember last time when I visited to the website for booking any flight ticket or buying any product or doing anything, right? You just take your phone, okay, open app, okay, what you need food, open Zomato, order food from Zomato, done. You need to book a ticket, open Make My Trip, okay, book your ticket, done. So nowadays everything is app. I mean, very less people are I don't know exactly in the statistic how it is, but I still believe like many people are just doing the mobile for everything. So you just open app, okay, done. You want to book cab, done. You want to eat food, done. You want to travel, you're done. Everything is an app based. Even like in Mumbai, you can book the ticket of the local using app, right? So app is very powerful. And you see, in the mobile market, there are only two big competitors. One is iOS and another is Android. So this guys from OWASP, they have developed their own strategy, like the OWASP Mobile Top 10 and OWASP Mobile Top 10, which is applicable for both Android and iOS. So you can learn about the mobile security, and literally you can make your career there. Literally there are people who are just working on mobile. Like if you ask them, hey, do you do web? He's like, no, 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 I just do mobile. So mobile is so dominated today because everything is on the mobile now. And that's why the developers are also working and finding creative ways to make an app, make a secure app, make a reliable app, which is having the what it calls, which will give you more user friendliness. So what we can say is like when you buy stuff from mobile, why you buy stuff from mobile? First is convenience, and second is the user friendliness. So that's when the mobile security is very critical in today's world. So for mobile security also you can achieve a lot. So mobile security also have the vulnerabilities like some website, let's say kk.com is storing the user credential on that same phone, right? So it's called the insecure storage of credentials on a phone. So that's a top one vulnerability out of top 10. So what happened is like tomorrow, if I take someone else's phone and I know he's using the kk.com app, so that app is storing the credential locally. So I can just get access, or you can call it a insecure storage of credential also. So I can just get a debug access to that phone by using ADB. So and then you connect your Android device using ADB shell and go to some specific location like the com dot blah 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 blah, and there you will find in the SQLite database or in the text file they are storing the credentials. So basically, if I have access to the someone's mobile phone, I can literally grab his credential. Okay, this sounds a very unrealistic because when it comes to the physical access, it's a problem. But how the mobile application security world works is like I want to grab the credential for kk.com and I have the vulnerability that kk.com's credential are stored in an insecure way on my phone, right? At XYZ location. Then what I will do is I will create another app, let's say a wallpaper changing app. Okay. Then you download that wallpaper changing app and that app will sniff the credential of kk.com and send it to me by using expose intent or uh, there are like a number of techniques that we can't talk right now to sniff the credential. Also, one classic example about the how crucial mobile securities are. Like in few days back, you see if or in this recent years, you will see the many loan giving apps are there, which will say like, okay, you just sign up for this app and you will earn the loan. Okay, while installing the app, not all users are techie and not all users understand what permissions they are giving to the app, right? So these guys request access to all your phone and then they will give you a loan at like a 14 or 15 or like sometimes 18% of interest. Okay, and they so once you fall in their trap, since their app is installed on your phone, it have access to all your photos, all your call logs, all your SMS, all your contacts, and the moment you install that app, it establishes a secure communication between your phone and the controller server. So what that controller server will do, like whatever contact you are adding in your phone, it will be synced directly to his control server. Okay, this everything will keep going smooth till the time you bounce their checks. Okay, let's say your payment date is this month and you missed the date, and they will like, okay, again another 18% I will add you, and next month you have to pay this. And since probably if you are not able to pay or like you are in genuine problem, what they will threaten you, okay, I have all your contact, I have all your personal private photos, and I have all your communication, I will send it to your contacts. And you will be wondering like how can this guy know like she's my mom, she's my sister, because it's a human behavior. Like I say, like many people say mother number is like my mama or baba or father, whatever, like very identical name, dad, mom. And then they use their app to take your data, which you provided to them, by the way, to threaten you and blackmail you. So mobile app has so overall mobile app security is a very big topic and very relevant in today's world. So another part to the offensive security, you can select this tier. Like you can go with web, you can go with mobile, or you can go with the API security. Okay. Anyways, in web or mobile, the API will come with you for as a free gift. Okay. And lastly, since we talk here about the black box, right? That's the most elite domain and most elite people are doing all these things. Here in this domain, there is something called browser security. So what the browser security is, you are testing the browser security. And why browser is a prime target? Because let's say if someone is using Firefox there, like millions of users are using Firefox nowadays. Firefox works on a Chrome OS. Firefox work on a Mac OS. Firefox work on a Windows OS. Same Firefox work on a Linux. Same Firefox work on a Android. Same Firefox one works on a iPhone. So if you find a one vulnerability in one browser, you are compromising the entire ecosystem of that browser or that user. And people are sometimes, I mean, I have seen many people, they are being very picky about their browser. So let's say me, I'm using Brave. So you see my phone have Brave, my Linux have Brave, my Windows have Brave, my Mac have Brave, even my test machine also have Brave, right? Similar way, people are, if they are using Firefox or they are using Opera, people are still using Opera. So these browsers, if you find a vulnerability in a browser, that vulnerability is a cream vulnerability because you can exploit any device. It doesn't matter. Let's say if I'm putting accesses, I have to have the web user visiting my website and using certain. I mean, it may have the limitation, right? Accesses. I mean, it's not a right example, but yeah, it may have the limitation. Or if I found a vulnerability in mobile, it will be impacting only on mobile. If I found a web vulnerability, it will be impacting only on a web. And if I found the API, yeah, it's applicable here. But the browser vulnerabilities are so crucial that it can, you see now, we are having this call, right? This is a Teams call. So we are using app, but if I don't have app, I can still join the Teams meeting from the browser. And why I'm saying you this is based in this team meeting also, you can see my face here. That means the browser, if I join the team meeting from browser, you can still see my face. So that means the browser I have access to your cameras. Browser have access to your microphone, right? And whatnot. So basically, browser in today's world is a very crucial thing. Like you can say like 60% of time we are on browser of our computer, right? Looking for something. So if your browser gets compromised, then everything will get compromised. Now, what? 1 minute. I just need to take a minute. Someone is at the.
Sure, sure.
Sure, sure.
Well, mean
Yeah, just 1 minute.
So, guys, if you want to learn about his bug bounty journey, I have pasted two links. One is his github.io page, where he is known as Security Beast, right? His pseudonym is Security Beast, so you can go there. Link is in the chat, securitybeast.github.io. You will find his entire CV list there, quite a good list. And then he was also covered by CISA.gov as a news item for one of the CVs he's published. And as he mentioned, for one of the bug bounty, he has earned up to 10K for the single bug bounty. So he has been quite a hands-on and quite a successful offensive tester, a responsible offensive tester, as we can say, that he has been helping different organizations and critical infrastructure provider. Now, mostly he is into aviation security now. So he works quite heavily in that side, securing the airports and related infrastructure. So his journey has been quite exciting, and we have a lot of learnings to take from his particular journey. So if you see these two, web profiles of his, you'll find the kind of CVs he's published and kind of, work he has done, because it is all publicly available, right? Only thing is known as Security Beast over there. In the meanwhile, if you have any other question, you can just type in. So one of the question was how to start, right? So although there are many courses available in the domain, I provided one link, which is of Certified Ethical Hacker CH version 13 AI, just lab version. So this lab version comes at a very cost-effective range, and you can start and do practice for almost 6 months. It has entire CH content with all the steps to do reconnaissance and vulnerability assessment and network monitoring and so on. Yeah, welcome back, Kaustubh. You can unmute, I think. In the meantime, I was just filling up. You have to unmute.
Yeah. So, so we are about to conclude this topic, and so browser security plays the crucial role. So, if you get access to someone's browser, you can literally get access to his camera, you can get access to his microphone and anything. All you need to do is just host a malicious website, which will request all the permissions through browser, and then you have to make attacker visit to that victim visit to that website, and it's done, right? So you see the pop-up, right? Allow this camera access. So if you found a browser vulnerability that can bypass the protection which is implemented by a browser. So like when browser tries to access the camera, browser will ask you politely, hey, this website want to use your camera. Are you willing to give access? When you say allow, then you will give access to this, right? But if you bypass that by finding vulnerability in browser, so that means you're just visiting website and you don't know anything what is going in the backend, and the attacker still enjoying your camera views, right? So, so this is a second path in offensive security expert domain. I mean, in the offensive security, which you can master and can survive in industry for longer. I mean, we can't say which is longer or which is shorter, but yeah, you can survive in industry with this, right? This is the one domain where you can achieve this. Now, let's talk about my favorite domain, second favorite or favorite, yeah. This is called the product security. So in today's world, we'll still stick with our example of KK.com. That KK.com is still manufacturing the phone. KK.com is still having the smart watches, and still having the headphones and blah 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 blah. So these all products are there. This domain is precisely my favorite domain. I am in product security since 2014, and the more I work, the more I start loving it. So, what is the embedded system security, and what is the embedded system product? Okay, embedded system slash product security. Why it's called as a product, and what is the difference between embedded security and what is the journey of it? We'll talk about it. Everything. So any machine which you see in today's world is embedded system for me. Okay, some of them are IoT, but most of them are embedded system. So you will see an IP phone which I studied a lot, and based on that IP phone, I found a vulnerability which can be real dangerous. Okay, so any component at your home, like you have the smart TV, right? That smart TV is nothing but an embedded system. A hardware which is getting controlled by the software is called the embedded system. So you have the headphones, right? When you press a button, it will go in a Bluetooth pairing mode. When you press certain button, it stop going into from pairing mode. It turns into another mode, right? The smartphone is the biggest embedded device we have in today's world. So any hardware and software are which is tightly coupled in between. It's called the embedded device. Okay, so this domain is quite niche. Very low people are exploring this due to certain reasons. One of the reason is like not everyone is having their embedded product in the market, right? You go to any company, they will have their website, they will have their infrastructure in the market. Uh, that's why the requirement of people experts in the network security and web application and mobile security is more, and that's why the resources is also available more. And resource, I mean the users or certified people who can do the web app and mobile are more in the market. But since very limited companies in India are manufacturing products, okay, that's why the product security expert are very less in our country. We need many more product security expert than today. What we have. So what we talk when we talk about the embedded system security, the embedded security in embedded system, there is something called firmware. Okay, I will explain you with your best friend, and that is called a mobile. So you have a mobile. Mobile is a perfect example of product slash embedded system. Okay. In mobile, you receive an update. That update is called the firmware. So for in phone, you have the firmware that is running. That is called the phone's its own operating system, Android or iOS. Okay, and that operating system keeps updating using over the air update. It's called the OTA, over the air firmware. So you will see the software update available. Do you want to update? Software update available. Do you want to update? Why these guys are working so hard and giving you updates, right? Probably you will find it annoying. Oh, again 3 GB download. Today's data is gone. Okay, let me install this. Otherwise, it keeps bothering me, right? But it's very interesting. These guys are working day and night to make your product secure. They don't want hackers to use your phone. They don't want hackers to access your phone or compromise your phone and take the sensitive data or personal data or SPII data. Like in iOS, you can literally get someone's heart rate, right? The iWatch, if it's integrated with iPhone, you can literally send someone's heart rate. So imagine I know your heart rate, right? It's that personal, and that personal thing you can literally compromise if your phone is gone, right? Apart from all your affairs, all your finance, all your friends, and all the gossips, talks you do, right? Everything is in your phone. So if your phone is compromised, your true face is revealed, right? So this guy is working very hard to secure your phone, and that's when comes the firmware security. Now, today, you might see a phone with 1 TB storage, right? That's a crazy thing. Back in those days, even my laptop used to have like 80 GB when I started. And even till now, I don't think my laptop have 1 TB. We still at 512. But if you go on other side, you will see the phone like storage 1 TB. And people still are putting cards on it. I was like, I don't know, goddamn, what you do with that storage. But in embedded device, even 5 KB is a big thing because the in embedded system you are literally working on these chips, this secure lock chips, where you will see, oh, this capacitor, oh, it have only 2 nibble. Okay, if you see this capacitor, oh, it is only 8 bit. Okay, then you need to transit from bit to byte. Oh, we are getting 2048 byte data. Wow, I can write more code here. And then, oh, I have more storage here. This is a processor, but yeah, here I'm getting like 256 KB. So I need to write a library which will do its which will have the functions, which will have the code, which will still working in a 256 KB kilobyte. Okay, I mean your thumbnail probably is larger than this size, right? But this guys needs to write a logic which will sit fits in such a small memory and will be sitting uh, in that chip, right? So, since the embedded systems have lot of limitation of storage, and this memory is called ROM. I mean read-only memory. In that ROM only you store your application logic. So what hackers do is hackers try to extract the firmware, identify the logic which is going inside the device, and then reverse engineer that logic to manipulate things. For example, weighing machine, right? Weighing machine is a like the bare minimum device of like 400 rupees or 500 rupees. Then it is nowadays it's fancy. It is a glass surface and showing the digital meter. Now you just change the weighing machine logic from zero. I mean, it will show you zero, but while calculating, you are changing that logic to plus 10. So any guy who is standing there will see, oh, my weight is 70 kilo now. Let's say I'm 60. But if I stand on weighing machine, it will show 70 kilo. Why? Because you have hacked into that embedded device. You have changed the logic. You have reversed the logic and modified the logic. Now, this is at a very low level, right? Now I will give you the higher level example. One of the best cybersecurity attack in the world is, I believe, the Stuxnet. Okay, you can read about it more online on Wikipedia. It's documented. Only God knows who conducted that attack, but that was a huge attack on Iran's nuclear power plant. So what? Those were all embedded devices from Siemens. What they were doing is they are generating a nuclear, right? The weapon grade uranium. They were making it into the nuclear weapon. So that nuclear plant, I mean, easily that machinery, that machines and that products will be in CRs. Let's say one machine is around like 20 crores or like say 40 crores or 50 crores. Okay, this kind of machines they have there to manufacture that, making the uranium into weapon grade uranium. Okay, so this guys who is doing, who performed that Stuxnet attack, I don't know who performed that, but those who perform. So these guys hacked into that embedded machine and changed the rotation of that PLCs. So they do have the PLCs. It's called programmable logical controller. So what you do, let's say the uranium needs to rotate, let's say 3000 times, okay, in that machine. So these guys were did uh, little modification that will show you that it is rotating 3000 time, but in principle it is rotating 3100 time, right? And you have the OT security, and OT machines are for this purpose only, that you don't have to manually rotate that rotator like 3000 times. The machine is doing that, right? Otherwise, we don't know how many human error will happen, and whether we are able to, whether they will be able to produce weapon grade uranium or not. We don't know, right? So this guy just change it by 10 rotation or something. And by this way, for 8 years, they were not able to find out like what is going on, why they are not able to make a weapon grade uranium, right? So this is the power of embedded slash OT network. Now, what's the difference between embedded and IoT devices? I think all products are embedded product, except they have the, those products who have the internet connectivity, we can call it a IoT product, right? So, for example, we have a camera at our home. Okay, we monitor our home on our mobile app. Like, oh, anyone is coming at our home in our absence. Just as a precaution measure, or just to keep a watch on everything, whether everything is safe or not. Okay, so let's take KK.com is selling this product to users, and users are taking their cameras to their home, and the home from the home they are monitoring their home on your phone. Like, okay, this is going good, everything is good at my system. Now let's move from the embedded device to product. This is a transition which I believe when it comes to the embedded device and product, IoT devices or product security ecosystem. So embedded device, the camera is still your embedded device. The mobile phone, it is still your embedded device. But when you connect it through the internet using IoT gateway or any other gateway or MQTT or whatever technology you are using in backend, we can't talk about it right now due to the time constraint. But whatever technology you are using in backend, you are making it a digital. Now your camera becomes smart camera, your phone becomes smartphone, and you can watch even let's say my home is in Mumbai, I am in Lucknow, I can still watch my home, right? So this itself is become a product life cycle. I mean product security life cycle. Now why? What is the difference between this embedded security assessment and product security assessment? Because the main difference you will see here is when you are doing embedded system assessment, that time you just need to see the attack surface which is happening physical, or probably remotest possibility if you get a nuclear plant access, something like this, right? But still the attack is local. I mean, let's say this remote, I can, you're able to see this, yeah. This remote I am able to hack when this remote is in my hand, right? I'm not sitting in a Lucknow and I'm not able to hack this remote, right? I need to be in a physical premises of that product to hack it. But how the product security and IoT security becomes a whole ecosystem is because now you can update your camera's operating system from your mobile app. right? Mobile app will give you a prompt, hey, I have an update. Do you want to update that camera system, right? You can see the feed of camera far away, like 500 kilometers or anywhere in the earth, right? Because of the internet. So now you need to take in account the IoT gateway for that product, the mobile app security for that product. Some also offers the web interface of camera to watch it anywhere in the world, right? So you need to take a web application of that product. You need to consider the backend infrastructure which is supporting all this transaction happening, right? The camera is sending feed to the using an MQTT and internet to the infrastructure. The infrastructure is having your S3 bucket or any storage or any RTSP protocol handler, and then the RTSP stream is coming back to your phone and you are able to see it, right? So this distinguish embedded versus product security, because in embedded devices your target is a physical system which is next to you and or within the premises of yours. But when it comes to the IoT or product security, you have to consider all this ecosystem, like the camera. Like we are selling only camera, right? But back in system, what we have, the camera is sending feed to my infrastructure server where I am hosting all this data. The infrastructure service is using APIs to give that data to the web application or mobile app, wherever user want to see. So you see all the infrastructure, all the security what we have talked so far is there in the product security. So product security is not just a product security. Product security is a full-fledged ecosystem. On the other hand, embedded system is a uh, products of it. I mean, just a component of it. But you know, it's always fun. And the best part is these guys are still way behind from the security point of view. So let's say if you start hacking any camera tomorrow, and if you start doing bug bounty tomorrow, yeah, there is a very high likelihood that you will get more vulnerability in camera as compared to the website. I mean the web application on the hacker one. I mean, if you want to continue your skills on the web application, definitely you should go with HackerOne and keep trying on the web application platform. But if you want to explore all these parts, you should give a try to the products. You can just go to Amazon, buy some shitty camera from China, or buy some mic, or buy some vacuum cleaner, smart robo, we call it vacuum. No, no more vacuum cleaner now, and start hacking it. Then you will understand what is JART, what is UART, how you dump the firmware, how the SPI interface talks, how IC talks, whether the firmware is encrypted, and how you decrypt the firmware. Then what is the binaries inside the firmware. Then you talk about the binaries. It's a built-in or embedded binaries. Then you extract the logic. You may get a credentials. You know, recently this DJI, DJI is a one of the biggest player for the drones in the world. They introduced a robo, and this guy, with a very minimal knowledge of hacking, found out that DJI is using MQTT broker to publish the data and give it a live stream. And the MQTT endpoint and MQTT credential was hard coded on all the DJI drone. So our endpoint was not the same. Endpoint have some unique naming style, not unique, I mean the predictable naming style from which the broker was giving. Let's say kk.com slash serial number of the product as an endpoint, and the credentials is hard coded. So if you can predict the serial number of the product, you can see the all MQTT traffic going to there, which means he used that vacuum cleaner as a surveillance system for almost 40,000 people's home. So if anybody have DJI as Robo, I suggest you should go offline and update the software of Robo so that you are not giving your home feed to that guy who is having access to it, right? So this is a whole ecosystem of product security, and that this is my personal favorite domain. Since I'm working it, and the more I do, more I start loving it. Okay, so this is a third path which you can do in offensive security to be an expert in it. I mean, you need to grind. So this safety critical system introduced like marine, aircraft. Imagine like I'll give you a simple example why it's called a safety critical system. and why it should never be failed or why it should not be failed. Because if embedded device is gone, I mean, yeah, I should not say this. The pacemaker is also embedded device. But let's take an example of pacemaker, which lies in your heart and ensure your heart is beating properly. If you're able to hack that pacemaker, you can kill a one person, right? If IoT device is hacked, what you can do, you can probably surveillance on the whole world, like the God's eye from Fast and Furious, where you are able to see the whole world, right? But what if the safety critical system fail? What if the aircraft computer failed to calculate runway or to calculate speed of or at what speed it should not? What if the ship or container fails, right? If the aircraft failed, easy 350 people will go, right? If the container if the big ship or container miss something, chaos will be unpredictable. That's the biggest machine in the world, right? And if it blasts nearly, done. So that's why it's called a safety critical system. This system should never be failed. So to ensure that, as your job is to ensure that security of this system will never be failed. Because in today's world, there is, I mean, in movie we see the hijack where the guns and everything is there, right? They Kandahar attacks, or you see Zameen or any Bollywood movie who is telling you about the real incident of hijack. This is still physical. Imagine cyber security affecting an aircraft. Let's say one APT group just claimed like, hey, Air India, I have access to your plane. If you don't pay me $1 million right away, I will crash your plane. Done, right? That's why it's called the safety critical system. It's a combination of embedded plus very nice engineering from the brilliant mind of the world to ensure the safety of that products. And also, these guys are so genius that they will make sure like the any safety critical like aeronautical or marine or the space or the rocket or the missiles or the defense side, these guys are so genius that they will make sure the safety and security of products will be future proof for at least 15 years, because that is not your mobile. You can just click on update and it will be updated, right? So, so this is the domain, and I think this is the peak of the embedded and product security domain. Now let's talk about the domain which I love most and which I do and cry most. I mean, it's not a data structure and algorithm which is bringing tears in my eyes nowadays. It's that woman who is bringing tears in my eyes nowadays. Okay, so I think if you remember the pyramid, we can go back. This is the top tier of hacking, okay, in today's world. I mean, at least from my point of view, because uh, till the till the time we did all, or till the time we talks about all the things in past till now, this all have some kind of automation, some kind of tool, some kind of AI assistance you can take, and you can do really a cool thing. But this domain, though it have the MCP server from IDA 9.2, probably you need to sell your house to get a license for that MCP server, because that shit is $20,000 cost for 1 year to use this. And correct IDA, that means you are the most stupid people in the world. So, so to buy this, it's very difficult. Fortunately, the Hexrays are good guys, and they are releasing community edition where you can still learn these things. Okay, in the market. So what is the reverse engineering? From the beginning also, I mean, from the very beginning of my career in 2010, I was always, I always want to be a offensive guy. I mean, offensive security guy. I always like a breaking codes. So I was like, okay, back in those days, I used to play the Need for Speed, and that Need for Speed game required license to play that game. You need to put a CD of NFS on your CD drive on computer, then only you are able to play the game. And one day, some guy told me, "Man, have you heard about crack?" I was like, "No, what is crack?" He's like, "Okay, copy this crack.exe and then put it back into the install directory of Need for Speed." So this was NFS 7. I don't even know which year it was launched. I mean, probably back in 2007, I think. So this crack I used first in my life in 2007. That crack.exe that changed the whole world. I was like, hey, Ayla, we don't need to use CD anymore. I don't need to have a CD to play the game. You know what that means? A full piracy. You just copy the installer folder to anyone's computer. You can play the game without CD. So you don't need to pay for CD. You don't need to pay for the game. And that's when I started exploring this domain. I was like, acha, okay. Then you see the paid software. I think IDM was very popular in our days. Internet Download Manager, which allow you to download the YouTube videos because that time the bandwidth was 512 kbps. We are talking about days. Now you have gbps bandwidth with you, so there is no need to stream the YouTube video, right? No need to download the YouTube video. So this IDM was another target. Like, okay, IDM is asking you a serial number and a key to activate it to download the YouTube videos. Then again, the crack.exe. Wow, you just replace it. How this magic happened? This magic happens because of the reverse engineering. And what reverse engineering can give you? Free games, free software, free commercial software. Let's say a software costing like $5,000, you can get it for free. The software which is costing like 10 lakh rupees, you can still get it at free by hacking the software. So what is the process of reverse engineering? So if you see the life cycle of binaries, it's like first you write a source code, then the source code, you compile the source code. After compiled source code, you have the binary. Okay. And the binary you run, and then you can see the binary running, right? And you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can use that program in short. Now, reverse engineering works exact opposite way of this. You have the binary, okay? And obviously nobody want to give their source code to everyone because that's their bread and butter. So what it does, it turns binary, it disassemble the binary. Okay, it's not debugging. It disassemble the binary in assembly language. And that assembly language will bring tears in your eyes when you see it for the first time. Okay, so it still brings tears in my eyes nowadays also after seeing it for many years. Okay, so that assembly language is a pseudo representation of the source code. Like, what could be the source code of this? Okay, I told my friend that I'm gonna put here a little demo of how the hello world will look in assembly, but I couldn't manage it to do it. Okay, let me help my friend. You see, this is a standard code stdio.h. Okay, print hello world. Then this is C++. Now I want to show you in assembly if it's there. Oh, they are doing clickbaits, huh? Yeah. You see, there is a text section. See, same hello world, which you wrote in 2 words, in assembly it looks like this. Now imagine this is a problem for hello world. Imagine the whole program, when you see it in assembly, it will definitely bring tears in your eyes. So what you are doing is the source code which is compiled and become binary. Now you are disassembling it and reading it into the assembly language to understand what this code might be doing. And then you change the code. It's called patching. Let's say that that NFS license, it was checking whether the CD drive is present or not. Yes. Okay. Then in CD drive, CD is running or not. Yes. Then in CD, this specific file is present or not. Yes. And then, okay, then continue the game. Now in assembly, what you are doing is that that check you are bypassing. So it is like back in days, it is called jump equal to, like, okay, So the flow, take a simple flow chart. Like this is a square and it says like yes or no check. Okay, is data present? Yes. Okay, then go to the next check. Then if in the CData you have the third license, yes, go to the next check. Then in the license valid, yes, go to the next check, run the game, right? Now you are modifying that binary and you are saying you don't need to check for CData, you don't need to check for license, you don't need to check for anything. Just you come to the checkpot, compare, and then jump straight to this address and start the game. So this is called the reverse engineering and this is called the hacking. And why it's most difficult? Because I just show you the hello world, right? So you can start this reverse engineering as a hobbyist to hack the games legally on your own, right? For a research purpose. And also there are many binaries. There is a website called re dot something, or I can just show you. There is a website called RE Labs or something. I don't remember exactly. Or Pawn Labs are there. There are many websites. I mean, where you can get these challenges and you can start disassembling those binaries in AIDA community version, and you can learn the reverse engineering there. Okay. Oh, it's something called crackme.re something. The website name is crackme something. So if you type crackme binaries, you will get it. Let me just do it. You see this crackmes.1, crackmes.1. Here you can just download the binary. Okay, latest crack me, and you can select the language which you want. You're able to see the screen. Yeah. Then you can download any binary and you can start playing with it. So it's a Unix or Windows. Okay. So now what this track is all about, right? Reversing is a art, and then you need to use this art to convert into money simply, or into research that will brings money in the end. So the second track is called the vulnerability research. I mean, in this reverse engineering, vulnerability research and exploit development. So by disassembling the system files, you can find a crucial vulnerabilities in the operating system itself, be it a mobile, be it a Android, be it a mobile operating system such as Android or iOS, be it a Windows operating system, be it a server operating system, be it a client operating system, like you're using Windows 10, some are using Linux, be it a Linux, be it a Unix, be it a Mac OS, any operating system. So you can select the operating system and you can do your vulnerability research there. So if you hack Windows and find a crucial vulnerability in by reversing their own files, then Microsoft will definitely pay you. If you find Linux, you will become hero. Uh, you can help Linux to develop more, right? You will get created in linux.com for sure. So track for vulnerability research is bit tedious, difficult, painful, and definitely a tears bringing in your eyes, because all you need to do is with this addresses. You see this beef 424 or this kind of addresses, and then you can your first. I mean, if you go by track, first you should choose. I mean, I will still suggest you should learn first the 32-bit architecture. First, you need to select which processor you want to go with, because you know this domain is very niche. I mean, today if I'm good at ARM, you can't ask me to reverse the Windows binary tomorrow. Or today if I'm good at Windows, you can't ask me to learn the reverse the binary of ARM or Mac. Okay, so this domain is very niche. You will have countable people who is doing research in the world, definitely countable. It's not in a hundreds and millions, hundreds and thousands, probably in hundreds, but not in thousands worldwide. And these guys are also very specific. So let's say a guy who is doing Windows research, he will be doing Windows research only till his life. He's never gonna go back to Linux and okay, let me switch a domain and let me do a research for Linux. The guy who is doing research on Linux, he is never going back to Windows and doing research unless he's at gunpoint, or even he prefer to die rather doing research on Windows, right? It's that niche domain. Like you need to expert in this domain, you need to have like at least 5 or 10 years of experience. Then you start like just exploring that thing after learning for 4 5 years, because it's that niche. Because you need to understand how operating system work, how the CPU architecture work, why operating system is using this CPU architecture, and why there is a limitation, and why which is the core language which was used, which are the binaries, what are the protection mechanism are there. And by the time you do all this, easy 5 10 years you will go. Okay. So first you need to select which processor you want to do. If you ask me, my personal opinion, I would suggest you should go ahead with the ARM, because ARM is processor which is used everywhere in the world. So your Qualcomm is an ARM architecture of processor. Okay, it's using ARM. All your phones is ARM. All your smart devices are ARM. All your new MacBooks are also ARM. So ARM is a very booming thing, and it will be
Popular.
booming in what? Yeah, popular.
Yeah, it is a popular.
Yeah, it is very popular. Okay, and if you want to start with the basics, then you should go back to 8086 or 805 or i686, or to begin with simply with the 32-bit architecture of any x86 operating system, that you can start exploring your wings and start spreading your wings and see. So once you give a try to all these things, then you can jump to the 64-bit also, just to understand whether you are comfortable with 64-bit processor or not. Because nowadays there is no 32-bit. 32-bit is dying soon, and the 64-bit is a big new thing, and it will be growing. Like there is no going back on 32-bit unless it's very necessary for all computers. But even the home
Kaustubh?
computers, yeah.
Yeah, we will take a few questions because I think we are exceeding the session time.
Yeah, okay. Just give me 1 minute.
You
I'll
can
just
just
complete
conclude.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So first you identify the architecture, then you identify the operating system, and by using reverse engineering, you and the memory corruption vulnerabilities, you can excel in this domain and become master in it. And once you identify the vulnerability, it's not sufficient in most of the cases. What this vulnerability can do, then you need to do the exploit development. So exploit development is like a building an exploit to abuse the vulnerability to gain more access, such as privilege escalation or getting a root shell or hacking. This screenshot is from the Stack 5 challenge. It's already published on YouTube on my channel, where I explain. It's a boring video, but yeah, where I explain how Stack 5 you can abuse in Raspberry Pi. And also, like if you select ARM, you can just buy a Raspberry Pi and start doing your research there. So that's my time, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the session. Now I'm up for the question.
Yeah, great. Quite a lengthy one. I know you can do more deep dive.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the fun question actually.
Yep.
You can go mute, maybe unmute first then, because I
Okay.
have reverberating issue. Yeah. So, so the first question is, in the beginning you talked about movie, right? Which can be used to understand hacking and all. So which was the name of that movie?
Imitation game.
Okay, great. Imitation game. And second one is, which one is your favorite bug bounty and favorite CV?
My favorite bug bounty was the SQL injection, which I found on this.
You are mute. You are mute. You can repeat,
Yeah.
Kaustubh. You are on.
Yeah. My favorite bug bounty, which I did, it was like hacking a Domino's, getting pizza delivered for free by using SQL injection, and also same bug gave me like a $10,000. And CVE, I found zero interaction remote code execution on the network devices, like from the Shenzhen network. It's a WAN gateway, which gives me the direct access. So that's my favorite CVE so far. It's a zero click RC. So
You can
previous
also
check. You can
drop your
also
YouTube
drop your
channel
YouTube channel. Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
chat.
In the chat. Yeah.
And
And
coming to the
coming to
next
the
question,
next
how to
question, how
start
to
bug
start bug
bounty
bounty
and common
and
mistakes to
common
avoid.
mistakes to avoid. So how to start bug bounty is very simple. Download the BurbSuite Community Edition and Firefox or any browser what you like. I prefer Firefox because the Gecko engine works quite well with all of the things. And the mistakes that you want to avoid is like stop doing monkey testing, because monkey testing will take you nowhere. Let's say you are putting the XSS payload in an input field. That field is not reflecting in a response, right? So there is no point of putting any XSS payload. Probably that is not vulnerable for XSS, and you keep putting the XSS payload, and you're not getting anything. So you will get pissed easily. So my way is like you should systematically approach it, systematically identify your I understand the application, spend more time on application to understand it, and then the shoot.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question
Next
is
question
on
is on
what will be the
what will be the
structured career
structured
path for
career path
students
for
and
students and
freshers?
freshers,
Which
which
certification and how
certification,
to,
and how to
start the journey in
start the
offensive
journey in offensive
security?
security. So, in the whole session, we talked about multiple paths. So I think, to give it a shot, I mean, everyone should test everything. Like to begin with, because, we can't just say like, oh, web application is boring, I'm not interested. I can't say network and security is boring. I think everyone should test every domain, should give a try to network security, infrastructure security. For that, you have open source resource like you can go to the hack the box and try hacking some system. You can learn about web application security by doing the HackerOne and bug crowd or any bug bounty platform. From there, you can do web testing. Exploit development, I just show you like you can download the crackmes and try hacking it, right? So out of all these things, then you will be the one deciding which domain is good or interesting for you, and based on it, which you can do the certification. So, for example, like you want to do expert development, then there is OSED. Then, if you want to do the network pen testing, then you have this CWNPT or EJPT, CRTO. Lots of certifications are there.
CPENT.
CPaint, yeah. So some says like you can be literally focused on Active Directory only. You have CRTO. So a lot of certifications is available. So first you should know what domain you want to explore, and then you can do the certification. I would recommend to do certification for one reason, because it will give you a structured approach to learn. You can be a self-taught hacker like me, but when you do self-taught hacker, you spend more time, and when you do a certification and the structured learning, you learn the same thing in a structured way. So that's a nice benefit of having
Great.
certification.
And the
And
last
the
question
last
probably for
question probably
today,
for today,
and question
and
doesn't go
question
without
doesn't go
AI,
without
right?
AI,
So
right? So
what is
what is
AI's role in
AI's role in
penetration testing
penetration testing
and future of
and
hacking
future
in
of
the
hacking in the
AI era?
AI era? Yeah, nowadays, the impact of AI is quite wild, because the one tweet, not even a product, from Cloud A drops the whole cybersecurity market by billions of dollars. Cloud A says it can scan for the vulnerabilities in the code, and suddenly Cloudflare is dying, CrowdStrike is dying, and even I don't know what firewall have to do with it, but firewall also start dropping, right? I was like, good man. So you see that one tweet shows the whole impact. It shakes the whole industry, right? If you ask me, I'm very least AI user guy, and I use my brain over AI most of the time. But you can still use the AI to get to optimize the things, to learn the things in a speedy way. Let's say if you want to learn one web application and you're doing the web assessment, you can ask AI. Hey, like, hey AI, can you explain this web application what it is doing in a simple way to me? Then you can think like a human again back, and then you have possibility. Then you post the back possibility to AI. Hey, what could be my payload for this? So AI is very crucial nowadays.
Great. I think it
Great.
was a
I think
great
it was a
session,
great session,
and people would have
people would have
enjoyed it,
enjoyed it,
learned a lot.
learned a lot.
And there is
Yeah. And
lot
there is
technical
lot
details
technical
pending,
details
so we can
pending,
have
so
a
we can
workshop
have a
someday
workshop
if
someday
your
if
time
your
allows.
time allows. Yeah.
But
But
thank you,
thank you,
Kaustubh. Lot of
Kaustubh. Lot of
wide and
wide and
relevant
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 explanation
explanation
from the
from
perspective
the
of
perspective
offensive
of offensive
security.
security.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks a
and I
lot,
think
and
all
I
the
think
people
all
can
the people
appreciate
can
by
appreciate
maybe
by maybe
sending some
sending some
reactions. That will
reactions.
be
That will
our
be our
gratitude towards
gratitude
him,
towards him
because he's
because
really a
he's
busy
really
person,
busy person.
and
And
doing this session
doing this
for
session
us,
for us,
providing insights
providing
from his
insights from
practical
his practical
experience for
experience
almost
for
14 to
almost
15
14 to
years. And he has been on the forefront. As he said, he got around 10K in USD. It's not about the amount. Think about the impact he might have created for the company, right? So to really create a defense in cybersecurity, we really need people like him with the deep technical expertise and with the hacking mindset in the positive manner, right? So thank you, Kaustubh, once again. Thanks. We will certainly like to have you some other day for a technical deep dive workshop. Thank you. Thank you everyone for
thank you
joining.
everyone
Please
for
do
joining.
fill
Please
the
do fill the thanks so
feedback
much
form.
feedback form. Yeah.
Feedback
See you
form is
next time.
required
Platform
for
is
distance
required for distance
certification. Bye bye.
certification. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Yeah.